Most men walk through life blind to a hidden truth. They are far more attractive to women than they could ever imagine. They worry about not being tall enough, rich enough, or muscular enough, while never realizing that their confidence, energy, and presence often strike deeper than any physical feature. Women notice subtle things: how a man carries himself, how he speaks, how he makes her feel safe or excited. Yet countless men dismiss these qualities as meaningless, convinced they have little to offer. The irony? What they ignore is often exactly what makes women drawn to them. Number 1. Lack of self-awareness about personal value. One of the most powerful reasons so many men fail to realize their own attractiveness lies in a simple but devastating truth. They do not understand their own value. From childhood, men are often taught to measure their worth by external standards: how much money they earn, how tall they are, how muscular their body looks, or what kind of car they drive. These measures create a rigid idea of what attractive is supposed to mean. And if a man does not fit neatly into that mold, he assumes he has nothing to offer. What he rarely sees is that his genuine personality, his resilience in the face of problems, his sense of humor, or even his calm presence can often be far more magnetic to women than six-pack abs or luxury possessions. This lack of self-awareness runs deeper than insecurity. It is a blindness to reality. A man might have natural charisma that lights up a room, but because he has never been taught to notice it, he disregards it as unimportant. He might be an excellent listener, offering comfort and empathy when someone is struggling, but instead of recognizing this as a rare and highly attractive quality, he convinces himself it is merely being nice and therefore irrelevant in romance. He may have passions, talents, or ambitions that women find inspiring, yet in his mind, these things pale in comparison to the checklist of superficial traits promoted by culture. The irony is painful. Women often see a man's value long before he does. A woman might admire how confidently he speaks his mind, how he treats people with respect, or how he pursues his goals with quiet determination. But if he lacks awareness, he dismisses her signals of admiration. He might think, "She's just being polite," or "She couldn't possibly be interested in me," even when her behavior clearly suggests attraction. His inability to recognize his own value acts like a wall, blocking him from seeing the reality in front of him. This blindness has consequences beyond dating. When a man cannot see his own worth, he communicates insecurity in subtle ways, through body language, hesitation in speech, or even avoidance of eye contact. These small signals create a loop. Because he doubts himself, women may interpret that doubt as disinterest or lack of strength, which then confirms his belief that he is not attractive. In truth, it is not the absence of value that holds him back, but his failure to acknowledge it. Developing self-awareness is the key to breaking this cycle. When a man takes the time to reflect on his life, his qualities, and the impact he has on others, he begins to see what women have been noticing all along. He realizes that his kindness is not weakness, but a source of comfort. His humor is not trivial, but a spark of joy. His ambitions are not insignificant, but a sign of passion and drive. By recognizing these truths, he not only becomes more confident, but also begins to carry himself in a way that naturally amplifies his attractiveness. Ultimately, the tragedy is not that men lack value. It is that they fail to recognize the immense power of what they already possess. Women often fall in love, not with the fantasy figure men believe they must become, but with the authentic man who is present before them. Self-awareness is the bridge between self-doubt and genuine attraction, and until men cross it, they will continue to underestimate how desirable they truly are. Number 2. Influenced by social and media standards. Another major reason why men fail to recognize their attractiveness to women is the overwhelming influence of social standards in modern media. From magazines and movies to advertisements and social media platforms, men are bombarded with images of what the ideal man should look like. Tall, muscular, wealthy, stylish, and flawless in appearance. This relentless stream of unrealistic portrayals creates a dangerous illusion, convincing men that unless they fit into this narrow mold, they have no real value in the eyes of women. As a result, countless men look at themselves through a distorted lens, constantly measuring their worth against a fantasy that was never meant to reflect reality. The impact of these standards is subtle but profound. A man who is intelligent, witty, or emotionally stable may still dismiss himself as average, simply because he does not match the sculpted bodies or luxury lifestyles that dominate the media. Social media, in particular, has intensified this problem, where platforms reward curated images of wealth, travel, and physical perfection. Men scrolling through endless posts of influencers or celebrities often end up believing that women only desire this polished version of masculinity, forgetting that what truly matters in real-life relationships goes far beyond glossy appearances. What makes this influence even more damaging is the way it erases the diversity of female preferences. Women do not all dream of the same perfect man. Many are drawn to qualities like humor, kindness, ambition, creativity, or authenticity. Yet because society keeps pushing a one-dimensional image of male attractiveness, men assume that if they lack a six-figure income or a model-like body, they are invisible. In reality, their unique strengths could be the very things that capture a woman's heart. But trapped by cultural conditioning, they fail to see this possibility. The tragedy is that these unrealistic ideals not only blind men to their own value, but also create unnecessary pressure that corrodes confidence. Instead of enjoying who they are, men waste energy trying to chase external validation, obsessing over gym routines, luxury brands, or status symbols, often at the expense of nurturing inner qualities that women actually find magnetic. The paradox is cruel. While men are busy reshaping themselves to fit a false ideal, many women are secretly craving the genuine presence and authenticity they already possess but cannot see. Escaping the grip of these social and media-driven standards requires a radical shift in perspective. Men must begin to question the images and narratives they consume daily and ask themselves, who benefits from me feeling inadequate? The answer is often industries that profit from insecurity. Fitness corporations, fashion brands, luxury markets, or even social media platforms themselves. Once men recognize that their self-doubt is being manufactured for profit, they can reclaim power over their self-image. When a man frees himself from the prison of unrealistic standards, he begins to notice what women have always valued: his character, his ambitions, his emotional depth, his ability to make others laugh, or the sense of security he provides in uncertain times. These are not qualities that can be bought or staged for Instagram. They are lived and felt. By rejecting the artificial standards of society and embracing his individuality, a man not only discovers his true attractiveness, but also learns to project it with effortless confidence. Number 3. Constant comparison with others. A third powerful reason why many men remain blind to their attractiveness is the destructive habit of constantly comparing themselves to others. In a world where achievements, appearances, and lifestyles are publicly displayed, especially on social media, comparison has become almost unavoidable. Men look at the wealth of successful businessmen, the physiques of athletes, or the charm of celebrities, and conclude that they fall hopelessly short. Instead of recognizing their unique strengths, They measure themselves against exaggerated benchmarks, turning admiration into self-doubt and envy. The trap of comparison is that it rarely provides a fair perspective. When a man looks at another who appears more attractive, wealthier, or more charismatic, he is only seeing a curated slice of reality, not the full picture. The athlete may struggle with personal insecurities, the businessman may face constant stress, and the celebrity may sacrifice privacy for fame. Yet from the outside, all of this is hidden. The man comparing himself assumes others live a flawless life, while he alone carries weaknesses. This illusion deepens his sense of inadequacy, even when women might find his authenticity far more appealing than the polished facade he envies. What makes this cycle even more damaging is that it creates an impossible standard of worth. There will always be someone richer, taller, stronger, or more successful. If a man's sense of attractiveness is tied to being better than others, he condemns himself to endless dissatisfaction. This mindset blinds him to the fact that women are not choosing partners based on who wins some universal competition, but rather on who resonates with them personally. A man may feel overshadowed by others, but to the woman who admires his humor, kindness, or determination, he is already the most attractive option. Comparison also erodes confidence in subtle ways. A man who constantly measures himself against others may hesitate to express interest in women, assuming he has no chance compared to better men. He might withdraw, stay silent, or avoid opportunities altogether. Ironically, this hesitation confirms his belief that he is less attractive, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Women rarely reject him because of genuine flaws. More often, they never get the chance to see his strengths because he has hidden them behind insecurity born of comparison. Breaking free from this destructive cycle requires a shift in mindset. Instead of asking, "How do I measure up compared to others?" men must learn to ask, "What do I bring that is unique to me?" Every individual has traits that cannot be replicated, whether it is a way of thinking, a particular skill, or a personal story that shapes their worldview. When men stop chasing external validation and begin embracing these authentic qualities, they realize that attraction is not about ranking, but about connection. Ultimately, comparison is a thief, not just of joy, but of perception. It steals from men the ability to see themselves clearly, convincing them they are less than they truly are. Women are not searching for the man who outperforms every competitor. They are searching for the man who makes them feel understood, valued, and inspired. The moment men stop comparing themselves to others and start owning their individuality, they unlock a kind of attractiveness that no rival can diminish. Number 4. Misinterpreting women's signals. Another crucial reason men often fail to realize they are attractive lies in their frequent misinterpretation or total ignorance of signals from women. Human attraction is rarely communicated through direct words. Instead, it is expressed through subtle cues: prolonged eye contact, playful teasing, a gentle touch on the arm, or even the way a woman laughs more than usual around a certain man. These signs may be obvious to an outside observer, but to the man in question, they often go unnoticed or are dismissed as meaningless politeness. This blindness is partly cultural. Men are often told that if a woman is interested, she will make it clear, perhaps even confess outright. In reality, many women rely on indirect communication because it feels safer and more natural. They may hint rather than declare, creating small openings for men to step in with confidence. Yet when men expect neon signs of attraction and fail to recognize these subtler gestures, they conclude that no attraction exists at all. The opportunity passes, not because the woman lacked interest, but because the man failed to interpret her language. Even when men do notice signals, they frequently misinterpret them. A woman who asks questions, maintains eye contact, or finds excuses to spend time together may be signaling genuine attraction, but a man plagued by insecurity might assume she is just friendly. His internal dialogue convinces him, she couldn't possibly like me. She's just being nice. Ironically, this misreading prevents him from responding in ways that could deepen the connection, leaving the woman frustrated and the man convinced he is undesirable. The problem is not simply ignorance, but also fear. Many men worry about misjudging signals and being rejected or labeled as presumptuous. To avoid embarrassment, they err on the side of denial, choosing to believe no attraction exists rather than risk making a mistake. While this caution protects their pride in the short term, it costs them countless opportunities to build meaningful relationships. Women may walk away, interpreting the man's inaction as disinterest, when in fact he was paralyzed by doubt. This misunderstanding can also create a vicious cycle. When women sense that men fail to recognize or act on their signals, they may reduce those signals even further, thinking the man is uninterested. The man, in turn, interprets this withdrawal as confirmation of rejection. What began as genuine attraction dissolves into silence, leaving both sides unsatisfied. Breaking this cycle requires men to become more observant and emotionally literate. Instead of dismissing every gesture as just being nice, men can learn to pay attention to context, consistency, and emotional tone. Is she laughing more with you than with others? Does she initiate contact or seek your company without obvious reasons? Does she show signs of nervousness, like playing with her hair or fidgeting when speaking with you? These subtle signals, when considered together, often paint a clear picture of attraction. Ultimately, the tragedy is that many men are far more attractive to women than they realize. But because they fail to read or trust the signals being offered, they miss out on opportunities for connection. By learning to interpret these cues with confidence and empathy, men can finally see what women have been trying to show them all along, that they are, indeed, desirable. Number 5. Insecurity and lack of confidence in interaction. Perhaps the most common and damaging reason men fail to see their attractiveness is rooted in insecurity and a lack of confidence in social interactions. Even when a man has qualities that women genuinely admire, intelligence, humor, kindness, ambition, these traits can be overshadowed if he carries himself with hesitation, doubt, or fear. Attraction is not only about what a man possesses, but also about how he presents it. Without confidence, his strengths remain hidden, like treasures buried under layers of self-doubt. Insecurity often shows itself in subtle ways, avoiding eye contact, speaking too softly, fidgeting nervously, or hesitating to express opinions. To the man, these behaviors may feel like natural caution, but to women, they signal uncertainty or lack of presence. A woman may sense that he has potential, but find it difficult to connect because his guarded demeanor creates distance. In many cases, she interprets his lack of confidence not as shyness, but as disinterest or weakness, leading her to withdraw her attention altogether. The tragedy here is that insecurity distorts reality. A man may think, "I'm not good enough for her," when in fact she may already be intrigued by him. But because he doubts himself, he fails to act, and his inaction convinces her that he is uninterested. This self-sabotaging loop means that men often miss opportunities, not because they lack value, but because they fail to project it. Women are drawn to confidence, not because it is flashy or arrogant, but because it communicates stability, assurance, and the ability to create a safe emotional space. Lack of confidence also silences men in moments where they should step forward. They may avoid starting conversations, fear rejection if they show interest, or downplay their achievements to appear modest. While humility is attractive, excessive self-deprecation only feeds the illusion of inadequacy. Ironically, women often see humility combined with quiet confidence as irresistible. But men trapped in insecurity never allow this balance to emerge. Over time, this lack of self-assurance shapes identity. A man who repeatedly convinces himself that he is unattractive begins to live as though it were true. He chooses smaller roles, avoids risks, and expects rejection, which only reinforces the image he carries. Women may notice his qualities, but because he does not embody them confidently, those qualities remain invisible. Breaking free from insecurity requires inner work. Men must learn to challenge the voices of doubt, to recognize the value they bring, and to practice expressing themselves authentically. Confidence does not mean arrogance. It means standing firmly in one's worth without apology. A man who looks a woman in the eye, speaks with clarity, and engages openly communicates far more than words could ever say. He shows her not only who he is, but also that he believes he is worthy of being seen. Ultimately, insecurity blinds men to their attractiveness because it masks their true selves. Women are often less focused on perfection and more attuned to authenticity, paired with self-assurance. When a man releases the weight of self-doubt and embraces his value, his natural qualities shine through effortlessly. The transformation is striking. The man who once thought himself invisible suddenly realizes he has always been desirable. He simply needed the courage to show it. At the end of the day, the greatest tragedy is not that men lack attractiveness. It's that so many of them never allow themselves to see it. The world is full of silent strengths, hidden charms, and unique qualities that women notice long before men ever believe in them. When a man learns to value himself, trust his presence, and step into the world without apology, he doesn't just change how women see him. He transforms how he sees life itself. True attraction is never about perfection. It is about authenticity, energy, and the courage to embrace one's own worth. If you found this message eye-opening or empowering, I invite you to join the conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments. What have you discovered about your own hidden strengths? Don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more insights like this. Together, we can build a community of men who no longer underestimate their power, but learn to embody it fully.